Greetings and welcome to episode 17 of the Weekly Review, a weekly podcast for words about games where we sit down and talk about the video games we've been playing. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander. I'm joined this week by Hot Tuna, Daffin Moody.
It's Monday, ladies and gentlemen. You definitely know what that means.
Well, was that your seductive voice? Like, hey,
I don't know.
hey, so.
Well, if you get messages saying give this man our number, then we know it worked.
Yeah, can you imagine? Just
Yo, Moody,
this is a little bit awkward, but
I am not bad. I've had an all right weekend. Chilled. Played some Kraken Among Us with us all last night, where I literally slaughtered everybody twice, which was glorious.
Well, I stopped you from getting a perfect game the second time.
I know.
Because I learned.
I was so close to killing Elf again.
Again, though, like, you can't watch the stream back because I had to take it down. But, like, it's literally just as the screen came up, like, saying you'd won. I found the body and I'd literally just clicked the button, but you'd obviously just killed someone first. Because I was just off in the corner on my own little world. I was trying to do the maze, but it kept the mouse kept going too far, so I kept fucking it up. So, like, you know that GIF that Keith shared?
Yeah.
Of, like, someone doing the card and, like, everything happening all around them and they're just still doing it. That was me with the maze.
Ding!
Like, literally, you're just running around like, stab, and I'm just like...
Ding! Yeah. The thing is about it, I had extra motivational fuel thanks to Cynical last night. So, because he just knows the game so well and he knows the blocks and where things are so well, he caught me out in a lie and everything the first time I was imposter, which seriously annoyed me. And I was just like, if I'm imposter again, I'm going full on Rambo mode here, and I went full on Rambo mode. Yeah, it's really annoying because I was saying to myself after saying, "Damn, I wish I was recording that on OBS," and I think I might do that from now on. Just record my side. And if I have some awesome moments like that, I'm just going to send you them, and then we just put them in a video.
Yeah, no, that's good because I've got the highlights and I'm working on the January highlights, and you did that once with Russell in the. In one of the other videos.
Even more impressive because I did it by myself this time.
But I don't have all the footage I have of that entire match is just me running around, but with with Paul like behind me because he decided to follow me, and then you killed me, and then I was like, what the fuck? Because then I saw all the bodies and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like,
he's the madman.
So it's funny with the payoff, but most of the highlight clip is just me like, fix this, do this. Paul's following me. Oh wait, he does that sometimes. But yeah, no, Among Us, still a great game. Still love it.
Yes.
And then I shoved an entire Twinkie in my mouth, as you do. Apparently, it's content, isn't it? It's all the content.
So that's how the video's going to start. Just you going, oh.
I don't think I'm ever going to let anyone see that footage ever again.
I kind of understand that. So.
Yeah. So we've got 3 games to talk about this week.
3.
We've got the Moody. No, I'm losing my mind tonight. We've got the Medium, which you played, and we've got Destruction AllStars, which I played. And then we've got Nuts, which I also played. And we're going to start with the Medium.
Yeah, I have a game this week, ladies and gentlemen. Yay! The Medium, that's the psychological horror video game that's developed by the Bloober team that was released on the Xbox Series X and S and also PC if you have the Game Pass through them. There was some hype behind this game because it was basically the first exclusive, basically, for Xbox Series X that's came out since its been released and everything. Obviously, because Halo was pushed till we're guessing this year. Who knows? They might
Who
change
even
it.
knows?
Who knows right now? But no, yeah. And for a lot of people, I think I'm one of them. I think you were as well, though. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong. That we both came out of like the Xbox shows that Medium looks really good. That was the one that stood out for us for the most part, at least for me, at least it did, and everything
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
I thought it was a Silent Hill game for a bit because
Yeah, yeah, and then it pissed you off when it wasn't.
it wasn't. Well, as bad as Returnal's thing, I still don't get forgiven them.
Yeah. This game is a game that is so close yet is so far away. And what I mean by that is that there are literally just a couple of things that they need, if they tweaked, would make this game easily a game where people will be at least talking about it in a good way, in a better way. I think it would at least easily be in the 80s when it came to the Open Critic and everything like that. Just with these tweaks alone, that's how infuriating this game is. Let's get into the, like
Let's
Sony
get
said,
into
it's a psychological horror game, a third person horror game, and you play as Marina, a medium who can travel into the spirit realm, being able to inhabit both worlds at the same time and do puzzle solving and etc. The environment world is beautiful. It is a beautiful game from the world building, the environments they've created, and everything like that. Characters don't look too great though. I won't lie. The characters do go from good to bad to somewhere in the middle all the time. It always does seem like it fluctuates when it comes to the character visuals for them. The story is it's going a way that you think it's going to go. And I'm not saying that in a bad way to the part of thinking, oh, you already know what the story is going and everything like that. It just seems like it's going in a certain way. And then this certain thing happens, and then it goes a complete different thing. And it seems like they just did a 180 on you and started telling a completely different story. And when the end happens, it's a completely different story, what it seems like it was building from the beginning for me. So it's a very mixture on that part.
That always sounds good.
The thing that also hurts this game is that it's advertised very, very wrong. It comes across in the when I've gone back through looking through some of the trailers and everything like that. The trailers make it look like this is a very suspenseful action horror game. There's no action in this game whatsoever. It is very stealth horror and very psychological horror, and it's very pushing that in the game. But when it comes to the trailers and everything like that, it does kind of make you think it's something different, which is kind of like a very bad. That's not a good thing, I don't think. You're false advertising something for people who really could have been interested in this game. I know a friend of ours was very disappointed just because of that aspect alone. The gameplay is very, like I say, it's third-person shooter, but this is not third-person shooter in like the Resident Evil 2 remakes. This is old Resident Evil mechanics, the tank mechanics where the camera will go to different angles and everything, and that is a detriment to this game, and it doesn't help this game whatsoever. This game, you needed to be third person behind the character all the time, just like the new Resident Evils, where you can absorb the environment even more, and also feel, I think you would be sucked into the game more. How the camera is and everything like that, the tank controls for it, just make it go very, you get infuriated with it, with the tank controls, and just like, oh, for God's sakes, I hate this style. It's not what we want. It's not what he needed. Like I said, that tweak would just change the whole game. Basically for me, I believe, a 180 where you're thinking, this is a game that is actually not that bad. The controls really well. It's visually stunning. Story needs a very, does hold it back a lot to it, but I do believe like the little tweaks that I've just said there would make the game a lot better. There are parts of it where it is fun. There are parts of it where it can be fun, but because of the infuriating controls, and I even played this on a controller for my PC. The controller on the PC, I was thinking, this is very slow, and it's very meticulous when it comes to being slow. and it just seems like it's taking forever to get somewhere. And I completed this game. Like I've watched speedruns. I've saw a speedrun. The guy did it in an hour and 30 minutes. I've took about 3 hours to do because I watched the cutscenes because obviously I wanted to know the story at the time. But I was thinking, Jesus, man, I think if you had proper controls, you could probably get that down to an hour easy. But because of how slow this game is, it just feels like it's a drag and everything. And it's just no real payoff. They sequel bake you like hell. Like, seriously sequel bake you. Which is very disappointing for the game. Yeah, this game it's very lackluster. There are some parts where I was thinking, I'm enjoying it, but it's so built up with all this other stuff that's just piles on top of it. It makes the little bits of good things get completely swamped by the things that hold it back, and that's very disappointing. I was very disappointed in this game.
So the tank controls / fixed camera angles.
Yeah,
I made notes. I was like, I'm going to ask questions. Is that because I know you don't. I know you're not a fan of tank controls and like fixed camera.
Well, I didn't mind them in the old Resident Evil games because that's how I just grew up with them and everything. But now, because we haven't really used them ever, not for like 10 years now, I would say it's always been like behind the character, properly behind the character, proper third person shooter, like Mass Effect, like the Gears of War, like even though Resident Evil 4, for God's sakes.
Sorry, I just had a flash of like, what would Mass Effect be like with tank controls?
No, you know what I mean when and everything like that.
Yeah.
We've moved on past those where you can now do a better version of it, and if they just had proper third person controls, this game would be far better.
Fair enough. Like, because like me, I like in. Let me be specific. I like horror games that use fixed camera angles and I mean, I'm not. Who is a fan of tank controls, right? No one. But fixed camera angles can be cool in a horror game because you can direct the scene, right? Like with the camera angles themselves. Like the classic Resident Evils have some great camera angles. But it doesn't sound. It sounds like the medium didn't have good. It's a weird thing to say about a video game. It sounds like the medium didn't have good cinematography.
No.
In terms of the way its camera angles were set up. Yeah. Whereas, like, I always remember that classic Resident Evil one where you walk through a door and the camera's literally, like, right in front of you. And you're, like, looking into the camera and it's just like, oh, fuck. Because you can't see anything except your character. And you're like, what happens when I take a step forward? And then it turns out it's just a hallway. Yeah. But, like, the fact that, like, Resident Evil could, like, instill that oh shit moment. But it doesn't sound like the medium does that. So.
It's more infuriating moment. Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
don't care about the character. You don't care about her at all. It doesn't explain anything very well at all. Like I say, it does a 180 where it make like at this specific point, which I don't want to say because it would spoil it. Completely does a 180 and then takes it into a different direction where it's now about this thing. And it just doesn't explain it at all.
That's fair. Like I've read, like some people have tweeted some stuff about the game that I've seen, like the content warning at the beginning of the game, which doesn't actually explain any of the content that's in the game, which is like a useless content warning.
Yep.
And then like talked about some of the stuff related to like trauma and like how the game views trauma and mental health, like in the ending. Like I'm not going to ask you to explain it because I don't want you to spoil it, which you'd have to explain it. But it does sound like a oof. I think is a good way to describe it from what I've read, and I haven't played the game, so take what I'm saying with a grain of sugar.
Thing is about it, they do push the mental health aspect in a lot of elements throughout this game. But when it comes to the payoff for the end, I don't think it's earned because you don't know much what's going on. You don't know the history of this character, even though it's tried to tell you it in the game. But because it's done it a different way, it's still very what the hell type of thing. And you're just like, oh. And then when they try, and like I said, they sequel bake you at the end. I'm just like, wow, you thought you had something here. And I'm guessing because you've earned your you've probably had your costs completely covered by Xbox just by going in Game Pass and everything, or at least most of it. And to what I know, they've made money from this game. They are probably going to try and maybe push towards for a sequel. At the end of the game, they ask you for feedback for the game. And I've blatantly just said I did leave feedback, and I told them what I thought. I was saying there's some fundamental problems with this game where you are so close that you could really have a good game here, but because these fundamental problems, you're letting yourself down because of it.
Tell me about the puzzles. Like, how are they?
They're forgettable. I'm not gonna lie, they're forgettable. That's what I was thinking when you said puzzle. I was thinking,
oh no,
yeah, there was puzzles. Yeah.
Like I looked across and I saw. I'm guessing a puzzle on the screen. The footage I've got, because obviously I haven't played it, is from a gameplay trailer. So.
Yeah. You have to basically you just have to listen,
right?
And it basically tells you where to go next.
Okay,
and because of this little ability, I had mine on the normal difficulty, so I had these white butterfly things coming around me, and it basically tells you where to go.
Okay.
And everything like that. But I think if you had it on the hardest difficulty, those will probably be gone and everything. But all right. It's quite easy for me.
Fair enough. How the last one, and this is a personal thing because of who did it, but how's the music? Or the sound?
Forgettable.
Oh man, that's not great.
For me, I'm just like, it's forgettable. Yeah. Because, like I say, it's piled on so much about all the other negative stuff. I think I completely forgot about it. So, and it didn't stick with me. If it was a proper, if I like a score, it would stick with me.
Right. Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. I spent half of today listening to video game soundtracks. Yeah.
It's not one you need to put on Spotify. I mean,
so I'm looking. That's fine. So I'm looking at it now, and it's like there's clearly some sort of stealth thing happening.
Yeah.
With a weird ghostly thing. Mm-hmm. It looks kind of creepy.
Yeah, visually it's creepy. And that's brilliant. Like I said, the environments and everything are beautiful. They really are. I had this, I flipped between because I thought, I'm going to say, because it gives you options what you want to start. And I went, oh, ray tracing. Yeah, why not? Oh, 60 frames. Oh, hell yeah, why not? And this was beautiful. The environments, I was like, oh yeah, this is a sexy game. And then I was just like, okay, but I always like to try, so I went, okay, have a go, kick ray trace and go down to 30. 30 looked just as sexy. Just as sexy. It was a sexy, environmentally wise, level wise, everything like that. It's a sexy game. Characters wise, it goes in and out sometimes, and it's just like sometimes the eyes are dead. Like you don't look like there's a character or some soul in those characters' eyes whatsoever, and it's just very.
I love taking a trip to the uncanny valley.
Blah. It's blah. It's a very blah game, Amy.
I won't make you labor on the point anymore. I was going to ask you about the stealth gameplay, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me it was forgettable.
There's only a handful of stealth elements, just because when something happens, and it's just like about 4 or 5 elements of the game. They were like, I'll be honest, there's one part I just ran right through, and you are meant to stealth it. But I just ran right past it.
Brilliant.
And I was just like, yeah.
Sounds like me played Death Stranding when I got sick of trying to sneak past the PTs and I just ran through them until they caught me.
It's like me with Aliens Colonial Marines. Just there's a few levels there you can literally leg it through the level without shooting the aliens whatsoever, and you're done. You're fine. Yeah.
And the faster you complete that game, the better. Whoa!
That is true, ladies and gentlemen. That is true.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you had a great time with that video game. Is there anything else you can think to mention?
Don't sequel bait.
Don't sequel bait. I hate that.
Just like, don't.
You just like, it's your first game. It's a new IP. Even if it's not, it's just like movies do this all the fucking time, and it irritates the shit out of me. Just tell a good story.
Yeah.
From with a start and a finish.
Yeah, and because they sequel bait you, they didn't tell you a good story either.
Yeah.
Like, so it's very forgettable, and you're just like, okay, so she's her type of thing. And
yeah,
I think that for me is not told very well at all.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's just
like,
like,
oh, it's over? Oh, but there's all this story left.
hmm
Oh, man. Yeah, I hate that. It's a pet peeve of mine in games and in films, but and in everything, really. It's just like The Matrix 2, like when that to be continued thing came up in the middle and at the end of the film, and I was just like, the fuck?
I
Like,
already knew there was a third one coming, so I was just
that's not
like,
the point,
okay.
though, Heidi. Like, the point is, I've left that cinema being like, what the fuck? The first film didn't do that. The first film had an ending.
But yeah, but I read the magazines and they even said this. That's what was going to happen.
No
So
excuse.
for me, it was out there.
Unless you're doing like a Lord of the Rings type thing, there's no excuse for it.
Hmm.
That goes for video games as well. It's just it makes a better game if you don't, even if you know you're gonna get a sequel bit after the credits,
Mm-hmm.
guys. Post credit scene once your story's done, and you go, whoa, wait a minute, there's more
Mm-hmm.
story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Spider-Man, that was a good one. Like Spider-Man ended 3/4 of the way through, and then was like, oh no, what's Doc Ock gonna do now? It's just like, wouldn't have been as kind of game, I don't think. But anyway, I'll stop. Um,
Destruction All Stars in.
Destruction All Stars. I played this game. I played a bunch of this game. Um, it's nice to get like a PS5 game, like an actual PS5 game, and not just a game I can play on my PS5. So Destruction All Stars. I wrote it down. No, I didn't. Destruction All Stars it's like an arena multiplayer game with cars. And you drive the cars around and crash them into all of the other cars. And that's the game. Like that's what you do in the game. There's 4 game modes. There's Mayhem, which is like a 16 player free for all type thing. The closest you could get to deathmatch in a game like this. 16 people enter the arena. You all jump in cars. You drive around. You smash into each other. The scoring system basically works in the bigger a hit you get, the more points you get, and you're just trying to get in a Mayhem. You're just trying to get the most points to win. Which is, hold on, let me get the gameplay up. There we go. So like a light hit would be like worth 1 point, and then there's a medium hit which is 2, and a heavy hit which is 3, an extreme hit which is really satisfying, and that's 4. You can, if you wreck a car, so if you like do enough damage to like destroy the car that someone's in, you get 5 points, and you can get an annihilation, which is where you destroy the car and do enough damage to kill the person inside of it as well, or KO them because no one dies. And that's worth 8 points if you can manage that. That's super satisfying and super infuriating. Ask me about that again later. There's a thing. I'm doing a thing. So that's the first mode. There's Gridfall, which is this weird like survival mode. So there's 3 maps, and all of the other game modes take place on one of these 3 maps. But Gridfall, it has its own map. It's like this round thing. It's like this round thing,
Yeah.
and instead of being like an arena with like design, it's got traps and and all this other stuff. It's just a blank arena. You're driving around it. There's a gap all the way around the edge, and like at various intervals, like parts of like grids from the arena will just fall away. And the idea is you've got 1 life, you have to survive longer than everybody else. Which it sounded cool, and then I tried it, and I was like, nah.
Yeah, that's not for me.
Back to
I'm
Mayhem.
good.
There's also Cornator, where you do the same thing as you do in Mayhem, except what you're doing is you're collecting gears when you hit other opponents, and then you collect gears and you bank them by driving your car into like this weird tornado thing in the middle of the arena. It destroys your car, but you bank the gears and then you run around and get another car. And you can do stuff like you can jack someone else's car and get all the gears that they've collected. Stuff. It's like I tried it for a bit, and basically what happened was I started with Mayhem, and then I tried another mode, and then I went nah, and went back to Mayhem, and then I tried another mode, and I went nah, back to Mayhem. The last mode is called Stockpile, and I'll be honest, I didn't play it. it was like this. I think it's like a team-based type thing where you have to like collect gears like you do in Tornado, but then there's banks instead of tornadoes, and you collect the banks, but then you have to take over the banks by having the most gears in them versus the other team, and it's just like, you know what? That sounds too complicated. I just want to drive cars into other cars.
That's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
I don't think anybody can blame me for that.
Not at all. Not at all. How's the mechanics feeling for you?
Yeah, so it's full on like arcade racer style thing. So it's not like, you know how like you get driving games and they're either simulations or they're like arcade races. It's like a full on arcade feel. It's not realistic at all. It's kind of like a Rocket League, but without football. In terms of how it controls, like you can drive up the sides of like arenas, although don't go too far because gravity's still a thing. But yeah, it's
this high gravity will take over.
Yeah, it's like you're driving around at like top speeds, and like you push the analog stick forward to do like a boost, which is obviously like aids you in crashing into other people as epically as possible. And then on a separate cooldown, you've also got like, if you do it to the side, you can do a quick shunt to the side, so like you can just go like boop and like hit someone, for example. And it feels great, like when you're driving around and smash it into everything and causing as much carnage as possible. Mechanically, it feels pretty tight, like to drive around. But there are also on foot sections. So like all the cars that you get in have health, and when they get destroyed, you get ejected from the car, unless again you get annihilated, in which case you respawn somewhere on the map. And like there's more to the on foot sections than you might think. Like you can jump on people's cars. And try and take over them in like this QTE type thing. So like you push buttons while the other person like spams their analog stick to try and get you off. It's all right. It's not something I did on purpose. Like
yeah.
Because like you can just dodge them, right? Like if a car's coming towards you, you can very easily get out of the way. Like so easily get out of the way. It's ridiculous. But like if you successfully do the QT, you can like take over the car, or you can just blow it up. But like for some reason, it's worth less points than if you blow a car up by crashing into it with another car. So I was always like, "There's no real strategy here."
You would think doing it if you hopped onto the car, blew it up, you would get more points.
Yeah, it's
more
like
dangerous.
That's what I thought as well. It should be worth more to like encourage like people maybe to like be like, "Whoa, hang on, what if?" Like I play like on foot, right?
Yeah,
like,
make it a little bit more difficult, but make it more
make it more rewarding. Yeah. Because the on foot sections for me, like as much as this, it's fine. Like it's a bit floaty with the platforming, and there's like this stuff where you can collect shards to like charge up your ultimate, which again I'll get into later. And it's like, it's fine, but like if I get ejected from a car and I am miles away from any of the cars that you can jump into, it's like, well, great, now I've got to and I'm running, and I don't really have an opportunity to gain points. So like I'm falling behind. Like you can rack up a lot of points really quickly, like sometimes just by accident, like because again like all your points come from hits. So like if you just start pinballing off other cars, like you can suddenly be like, oh shit, I'm in the lead. So like there's not like it would have been cooler if the on-foot stuff was like risk reward, where it's like I could get lots of points by doing all this stuff. Like if the shards gave you points, so you could like platform around and get the points, and you could never win like that. But like it could incentivize you more to do more platforming, like between like give you something to do. Like, oh shit, the cars are all the way over there, but there's shards in the way, so I'll do this parkour and this wall running and stuff to keep my point total up while I'm not in a car. Like that would have been cool, but for what it is, it feels like they were like, well, if you get blown up, we don't just want to have to respawn you, so we'll do this weird in between thing, and then we'll add a couple of gameplay elements to it.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah. Anything that is infuriating you on the game?
No. So like I didn't actually say what I thought of it. So this game is fine. Like it's pretty good. like it's not amazing, it's not terrible. I think is the best way to describe it, which I think I said to you the other day privately. But nothing particularly infuriates me about it. Like there's some wonky like physics, which I always expect from online games at launch. Like there was one moment where something weird happened and a car ended up sort of on its front
Yeah.
but moving, and I don't know, like the game seemed to register it as still moving under the power, under its own power, instead of obviously physics taking over. So it was just kind of going like, whoa, like around the arena, and you're just driving, going, oh, that's weird. The only annoying thing that I came across is sometimes you just get annihilated for seemingly no reason. Like I imagine it's like networking lag, right? Where it's like someone hits you. It's like in Among Us when you feel like the person who just killed you was too far away to be able to kill you.
Yeah.
Like in this, it's like you like on the person who hit you screen. It probably looked amazing because they just fucking smashed into you and you just exploded and it was great. But from my perspective, it's like a car hit me and then I'm driving for a little bit more and then all of a sudden my car explodes and it does it in a way where the car just disappears and there's four tires and I'm staring at the ground while I wait for the chaos screen to come up and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like it feels like I've just spontaneously blew up for no reason, and
So
that
it
happened a
seems
few
like
times.
they need to get the online situation a little bit more better.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like
It's not like it doesn't happen all the time. Like it's
Yeah,
happened like 3 or 4 times. But these are quick matches, so like at most, I think because there's a timer on it on all the mayhem matches, like it's a countdown, and whoever's got the most score at the end of the countdown wins. So they're not quick matches. Like Gridfall, like the survival mode, like sometimes if you die really quickly, it can take you longer to matchmake and then load in than it can to actually play the match. Like if you fucking go out in like 30 seconds, it's like, oh shit. That is the other thing though, and I don't know if it's infuriating or hilarious, but basically, like this game, that sick camera angle for that wreck there. Sorry, I just got caught up looking at the gameplay. It's really satisfying sometimes. But yeah, it's like when you start, right, all of the voice chat goes through your controller. Because obviously
Yeah.
the DualSense 5 has both the microphone and the speaker. And it ports it all the way through. So if you don't mute your microphone, you're in voice chat. And at the start of every match, all the voice chat comes through your little speaker and your PlayStation 5 controller. My God, sometimes it just... I mean, you know what voice chat's like. Sometimes
Can be, yeah. Yes,
can be,
indeed.
yeah. It's like all of a sudden it's just like, wait, I think my controller's cursed. Like, what do I do? Oh God, should I touch
What
it?
do I do? Yeah, that's that can be a bit. That's not just can be.
It takes
is.
2 seconds to mute it,
Yeah.
like, which is cool because you just push 2 buttons and it's done.
Yeah.
But it can just be like, if you forget, it can be like, oh no, what have I done?
What did I do?
Yeah, so got lots more game mechanics I'm going to talk about. And also, the commentary gets really repetitive really quickly.
I thought
Some
it was.
big scores on the leaderboard, but they're for the opposition. Shut up! Yeah, it's not great.
Shut it now.
It's not great. It probably, honestly, it feels like maybe you just don't have it. Like, because like you haven't recorded all that many voice lines, and it gets irritating.
I
Like
can believe
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to know about? Because I got a bunch more notes right now.
How's the visuals? The visuals, what I've seen from Fixer stream, a friend of ours. It looks good. Looks visually
Yeah, it does.
nice.
Yeah, it's not gonna like in a year's time. It's not gonna be like, whoa, Destruction All Stars. That was
Yeah.
a proper PS5
Yeah.
benchmark game. But like, yeah, it looks good. Like the cars all look really nice. The character models are all cool. There's a lot of cool like small details in the animations.
How many different levels is there?
So
Is there enough variety?
There's 3 levels.
Hmm.
Wow, I just looked at the screen. I was like, I don't even know what happened there. There's 3 levels. They're really well designed. Like a lot of care and attention has gone into like the level design. But they can sort of feel samey for the first half of a match. So in a Mayhem match, I don't know how this works in the other ones. And again, I'm really only just talking about Mayhem because I didn't spend much time in any of the other game modes because I wanted to have fun. And each one, about halfway through a match, like a trap will be deployed. So, and you'll have to forgive me because I don't remember which one correlates to which map. There's a London map, there's a Barcelona map, and there's another map. And they feel pretty samey until the traps come out. And then in one level, there's a big hole just opens in the middle of the arena. It's drive in, you're dead. That's it. You're done. Like, so you can use that to your advantage. Another one, which was just on the screen, is you get these giant fans, like huge fuck off fans that start spinning, and it's like they'll slice your car in half if you get caught in them. So like there is variety, but there isn't variety. And as somebody who's played the game for I think about 6 or 7 hours, like it's fine, but I feel like.
Do you think you're done?
No.
No?
No. I don't think I'm gonna obsessively play. I don't think it's Apex Legends territory where we sat down and played the game for like 6 months. Like I think we did. I think it's more just like something quick and easy to play. Like I can just pop on for a little bit and just like crash in, like because it's a fun game. Like once I got the hang of it and started like consistently finishing in sort of like the top 5, I was like, okay, like this is pretty fun. Like I changed characters, which helped.
So is it a game that you can switch your brain off and also listen to like a podcast type of game?
I think you could, yeah. I don't think you need the sound for any of it. Like the sound design's good. Don't get me wrong. Like the sound design is good. Like it's when the cars are crashing into each other and crunching and exploding and all around you. It's pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like I could just podcast game it, right, and just be like, cool. I'm gonna stick on an episode of whatever podcast or whatever YouTube video in the background. I'm gonna listen to that while I just mindlessly play Destruction AllStars.
Sounds good.
But yeah, like the characters make a big difference because it's a hero character system. So like, there's a bunch of different characters, and they have their own special ability and their own like special car. So like, when you spawn into the map, it's all these cars. There's like different types. There's like fast ones that don't have much health, and then there's beefy ones that are slow but can take a lot of damage and can dish it out quite well. And you literally just run around the arena. You jump in them. And you jump in one, and then you drive, and then everybody else has done the same. And then you never get attached to any cars because they go really quickly. But
this is my beauty. She's my baby.
No,
I'm
never do that.
You're never going to get a dent.
But like, there's constantly like cars on platforms like coming down and appearing in the thing. And what you do is, or what I started doing was, and maybe this is why I started consistently like finishing quite high on the leaderboards, is like if one of my cars was knacked, I'd stop trying to crash into the other cars and I'd just find the nearest one. And you can push a button and just eject out of your car. And I just do that. So I just eject myself towards a new car, land in it, and then just drive off on that one. And like, honestly, it was kind of cool. Like, be like, oh shit, my car's fucked. And then I'd land in a new one and I'm off again. But you do get hero cars. So like, as you're doing damage and collecting shards, like you're powering up your, I can't remember what they're called. I'm just going to call them hero cars. So you're powering up your hero car, which is specific to your character. Like it can't be jacked. Like if you're in that car, no one else can jump in it, no one else can jump on it and try and take it over because that's your hero's car, which I thought was a nice touch. And like, but it's got a special ability to it. So like the two characters I played, the first one, like if you activate the special ability, which is on a cooldown, like you can barge more often. So like the cooldown for like barging is turned down, which it was all right. But the second character I played, Harmony, she's got like this DJ like music type thing deal going on, and when you activate her special ability, it just sends out this like these massive speakers on a car, and it just sends out this blast, like basically an AOE blast, and you can really fuck a lot of people up all at once if you use this thing. And honestly, I think it's really cool. Like, and I'm interested to try a bunch of the other characters, but like I picked like the anime girl. She had like the emoji mask thing on at first, just because I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that'll do. She looks a bit. She
That
reminds
looks
me a
good.
bit of Diva,
I
so
don't
that'll
know.
do. Um, and then I was like, okay, I'm actually gonna like look around, and I've let some of the other characters because I was doing badly, and I selected Harmony, and like I think my second match is Harmony, I won, and I was like, okay, maybe
Sweet.
some of these characters have more powerful abilities than some of the other ones.
Nice.
Um, so I think that might be a thing. Like it's the inherent danger of you make a multiplayer game based around hero characters. Some of those hero
Yeah,
characters are going to be more powerful than the others, and that's just the danger of doing it this way.
that's true.
But also, I got to activate massive subwoofers and just blow everybody all over the map. It was great.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're all surrounding me. Not anymore, fuckers. I got so many points.
Suckers.
I got so many points for it as well. Um, the last thing I want to talk about as well, very briefly, because I even wrote it in here. There's a progression system in the game.
Is that?
It's a multiplayer game, and apparently we can't just play multiplayer games for fun. We have to unlock things as we play them.
That's true.
So yeah, you get your XP from doing stuff and like getting badges and stuff. Like if you do a lot of damage or you wreck a lot of cars, you get like badges and you get extra XP. That unlocks coins, um, which you use to buy cosmetics.
Yeah.
You can do challenges, which I never did, which will also unlock cosmetics. There are like incidental challenges where it's just like, hey, you finally hit this milestone, like weekly refreshing challenges, where it's like do 4,000 damage to other cars. Boom, here's some XP or some coins or a cosmetic. And of course you can buy coins, separate coins like purple things. I don't know what they are like.
Yeah.
To also buy cosmetics, and then I just wrote at the end of this section, I don't care, like
I
I
don't care
don't
about you.
care. I don't care about any of this. Like
Yeah,
I played Destruction AllStars for 7 hours because I was having fun.
yeah.
Like I'm really starting to get sick of like all of these billions of different fucking currencies and meters and XP bars and shit in multiplayer games.
I can understand that.
Um, because I'm not interested, Moody. Like,
Yeah, it's sadly it's just the times, isn't it? Though
yeah,
every
it's like I
game
remember having this
has it.
conversation on another podcast where we were talking about Sea of Thieves, and someone was saying, "Well, if it had more better cosmetics to unlock, maybe I'd play it more." And I was just like, "But, but if
Sea
you're
of
not
Thieves is
enjoying
not
the
the game.
game,
Yeah, Sea of Thieves is not the game to do for that.
but it's like anything. It's like for
Yeah,
me anyway. It's like I didn't play Apex Legends because I wanted to unlock a bunch of skins. I played Apex
that's
Legends
true.
because I was enjoying the game. And like, if I
Yeah,
wasn't enjoying the game, some nice skins wouldn't make me enjoy the game more. I never
that's true.
understand
Like,
that logic.
yeah. Even though there were
Um,
some sexy skins on
I mean,
Apex.
there were some amazing skins. Don't get me wrong,
Oh
and
yeah,
I'll always like appreciate good cosmetics and good cosmetic design. Like, not there's no question of that. But it's just like
yeah,
if the game isn't fun for me, it's like I'm not going to give a shit if you've got some
that's true.
sexy skins in it. You know, like
You're
like
not
an.
wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh, if a multiplayer game's fun, I'll play it. If it's not, I won't. It's that simple. But some people disagree, and I don't understand that your point
That's just
at all.
in game in general. If a game isn't fun, it's just nothing's gonna change it for me.
Yeah, actually, yeah, no, you spot on. It's like it's not fucking just multiplayer games. It's like, hey, if I'm not having fun with the game, I'm gonna stop playing it. It took a long time for me to come back around to that mindset from where I used to be with reviews and stuff, but I'm back. Game no fun, Amy,
Yeah,
stop.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything else you want? Any more questions you've got for this?
And no, I think we hit them all, basically. Yeah, I think it's like we've hit the level of like what type of game it is and what level of enjoyment we would say it's at. Like you
I had
can
fun with it.
just sit back, chill, listen to something, have something in the background that you always like or something like that to distract you
Yeah.
while playing it and having fun. It's got some good visuals. The mechanics are pretty decent. You say level design, like there's only 3 levels and there's only a handful of cars, which is a little bit disappointing. But at the end of the day, it's a brand new game. Hopefully, this is a game they're going to be continuing to improve and
Oh, I'm sure there's a roadmap somewhere.
yeah, the roadmap for it. I keep forgetting the words and everything. The
That's
roadmap,
fine.
and yeah, and if they keep doing that, and if it has been a success, hopefully because it was on PlayStation Plus and it was a PlayStation Plus game, 9 times out of 10, that those come out to be a success for the developer.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that, because there's something really confusing that's happened with Destruction All Stars.
Okay.
Like, so it's on PS Plus. Like, it's a big deal. It's going to be on PS Plus for 2 months instead of 1 month.
Okay.
I guess just to get people in through the door. Like, and so I've downloaded it. Like, it makes sense as a PS Plus game. You can't play the game without PS Plus, so
Yeah.
you might as well. You know what I mean? But I don't know if the game's actually out yet or not, because I can download it on PS Plus, which is what I did and what a lot of people have done. But you can't buy it from anywhere. Like, and I checked this because I saw someone tweet it and I was like, surely that's not right. And I've looked and you can't buy it.
Okay.
Like, it makes sense that you can't buy it on the PlayStation Store, but even then it doesn't. Like, you can go around in circles on that. Well, what if you don't have PS Plus? Then you can't play the game. Why would you buy it?
Yeah, because it's an online game, yeah.
But you can't buy it on the store. You can't buy it from places like Amazon, for example. I don't know how much this game costs, because it's not been released for sale. So right now the game is however much you pay for PS Plus.
Yeah.
In 2 months,
What's the
when
price going to be?
the game comes out of that and it's not available on PS Plus anymore, I don't know how much the game is.
It. I think they're keeping an eye on it.
Because
they're going to check. If there's a lot of people playing this game, by the end of it, after those 2 months, then they'll probably be thinking, we can maybe throw this out for 60 quid.
This is my point. So as a PS Plus game, I have quite a good opinion of it. I would say I'm quite positive on it. If this was a game where they were like 70 quid, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't. And the thing is, I don't know if it's a £70 game yet or not.
Yeah, because it's like me going back to the medium. The medium you can get on Game Pass, but you can buy it, and I believe it's what 30, 40 quid.
It'll be. I think it's 35 quid. Because I looked it up on Steam. Or it keeps popping up on Steam. So yeah, it's just like, you know how it's like sometimes it's like taking into consideration the value proposition of like, how much am I getting out of this game versus how much it costs? It's like, that's a good question. I might be able to tell you in April. Like what it is. It's not like, I'm not necessarily dragging the game, and it's certainly not the developer's fault because they didn't publish it. It's a PlayStation Studios game. We got the big Marvel style intro cinematic thing that plays every time I open the game up. But it is, I don't know, it feels weird and not in a good way.
It is weird. I don't deny that, but at the same time, I bet you it's just this thing of just like, they know that they've put this game on, and they're trying to move people over to PlayStation Plus. Because I think they've got 50 million people on PlayStation Plus. I might be wrong there.
Man, we just read it as well. Don't make me look like an idiot for forgetting 3 days later.
No. They've got a lot of people on PlayStation Plus, but obviously they would want to get more on it. So maybe it's just them trying to push the PlayStation Plus and say, now get PlayStation Plus, get this game basically quote unquote
maybe
for free type of thing.
But I honestly feel like Control does a better job of that than Destruction. No dig at Destruction All Stars. It's just Control is a non-game like that people talk very positively about. And Destruction All Stars is new and no one knows what it is. And like, it's fun. It's fun. If you've got PS Plus, download it and give it a shot. I think it's well worth it. And obviously you need a PS5 as well, because it's just a PS5 game. Yeah, give it a shot. You'd probably like it.
Yeah, I think it is just ultimately because it's a PlayStation Plus game. They're not going to give you the price.
If you're thinking
until
about
after
getting a
September.
PS5, honestly, and you think you might want to play this game, it might be worth subbing to PS Plus and adding it to your library.
Yeah, getting it now, yeah. And just so you can get it later, because you probably won't be able to get a console, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you might not be able to get a console by April, so...
Yeah.
I did that with Xbox for like the 6 months before Xbox One came out. Well, before I got it, after it came out, I was subbed to gold. And I was just like, free game. Games with gold, you know what I mean? Just like
I
getting
don't
all the
even
games.
download them anymore.
No.
Like,
It's a weird thing, isn't it? It's like the PlayStation Plus games, especially the last 2 or 3 months, I've been like, shit, yeah, I'll get those out of my library. Those are great. And then it's like, I can't even remember what games with gold are half the time.
that's the thing about it when it comes to like what we spoke about, the whole Game Pass thing, or changing the price thing last couple of weeks ago. It was just like, why do you still have gold? We know why, but why do you still have gold? Type of thing.
Yeah, it's the
Or
whole...
why
just
are you
make
not just combining it to the part of like you get Game Pass if you have gold type of thing.
Just
But
put it in Game Pass, and
Yeah.
you could just do the even more megaton move of just multiplayer's free on Xbox. What do you do now? You can now PlayStation.
How about you? Yeah, both of you need to do that. Basically,
Yeah, that'd be
PlayStation and
nice.
Xbox.
Be nice.
Yeah.
But so that was Destruction All Stars. It's fun. Check it out.
Glad you enjoyed it.
I did. Kind of want to play it.
Time to talk about some nuts. Yeah,
Now that I've been talking about it, I kind of want to play it again. Yeah, nuts. So this is
nuts.
this is an indie game.
I guess that.
It's like an adventure-ish game. So basically, I wrote it down. I actually did write it down because I was like, I need to explain what this game is. So basically, you play as like a graduate of like a university graduate, and you've joined this program where someone sent you into the forest because there's big companies gonna do deforestation because big companies are the worst. And like you basically squirrels live there, and like they're an endangered species, so you need to document the squirrels and catalog them and get evidence of them being there, and and that will hopefully stop the big company from deforesting the area. But big companies suck, as we both know, and they're going to try and do it anyway. And basically, what you do is, I think there's like 5 levels. And what you do is so you get a start. So you're in a trailer. That's where you start off, and there's a phone and a fax machine, and like you've got your video recording equipment and stuff. And at the beginning of each level, you get called, and it's like, cool. Well, this is where the squirrels. Basically, you get told where the squirrel starts from, and then you get cameras, and you set the cameras up pointing at where the squirrel starts from, and then you go back to your trailer, and then you record the footage overnight, and then you watch it back through. And you go, look, there's the squirrel, and you watch it and you see which way it goes. And then you do the next day where you go back out, you take your cameras, and you go, well, the squirrel on the thing went that way. So then you point cameras, and you basically you're tracking the squirrel, like as it's moving to its end point, to its nest. And things get considerably more complicated. Like the first squirrel, you just track it, and it's just chewing on some nuts. And it's like, oh, isn't that? It's really cute. It's like, oh, it's a squirrel, and it's got a big pile of nuts, and it's just sitting there, like doing its thing, where it's like, ding, 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 ding. And then the second one you do, and it's like, all right, cool. And then you go in the nest, and it's like, why does this squirrel have all this TNT and matches? And you're like, oh, wait, hang on, this isn't nuts. And then even the person on the phone is just like, we should probably figure out what's going on here. And it's like, yeah, probably, because it's a lot of explosives for a squirrel. And then you think, haha, this game is gonna be really weird.
It really was.
It's not,
Was it not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to really like this game.
Aww.
And I kind of didn't. Like, let me put it to you this way. I finished it. It's about 2.5 hours, I think I played the game for. I don't know. I don't, like, just to give you an example, because I don't want to do spoilers. I don't know where the TNT came from. I don't know why the squirrels had it. I don't know what they were going to do with it. Like, it never comes up again. It's not even mentioned again. And you think it's something you might mention. Like, oh,
a little bit.
the next level is like, oh, these squirrels are congregating in one area. That's weird. And I'm like, that's weird. That's weird. What about TNT? Like, it is really interesting because, like, sometimes it does really cool things with its mechanics. Like the one where you find the squirrels meeting, what happens is, like, you're setting the cameras up following a squirrel. And then I think, like, just before I found the end point of that part, it was like, wait, was that another squirrel? Like, you just kind of saw a flash of it. And then when I set the cameras up where I thought, you see, like, 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, we need to figure out where the other 2 came from. So then you've got to do what you were doing backwards and, like, track the other 2 squirrels from where they were coming from. And it's like, that was really interesting. Because it was like, it mixed it up a bit.
Just a little.
But, like, the story doesn't feel developed. Like, there's a lot of interesting concepts and interesting ideas. There's a lot of interesting things the game has to say about ecology and ecological disasters and, you know, the role that big companies play in destroying our environment. Like, but it never feels like it reaches its point.
Yeah.
And then the ending comes out of nowhere. Like, and it's such a left turn from where the entire game has been leading you to that you just like, okay. And then you're like, oh, the credits. I guess the game's over. Like, it's not so much, oh, the game ended, as, oh, the game stopped. Where's the rest of the story? Like, story threads are just left completely hanging.
Nuts, too.
For no reason. And I'm just like, I really actually wanted to know what was happening. Like, genuinely. Like, I wanted to know how it all shook out. I wanted to know why certain things were happening. I wanted to know what was going on with my person. Like, the person who's driving you around, who you never see, but is referenced a lot, disappears. And that's it. Like, it's mentioned a bunch where it's like, well, I still can't get a hold of Scott. And I'm like, shit, like, that sucks. But, like, that's it. That's as far as that story thread goes. And it's like,
oh, wow. That's
why?
silly.
Like, it's like, unless I'm missing something, which, you know, I mean, I got to the end, I saw the credits. Like,
sounds like the creators were, especially when they put in TNT with squirrels and they don't
why?
even go around with it. Don't even explain it.
They're gonna blow up all fucking forest. Like, why? This
Please give us a reason why they want to do this, then I might understand. I may not agree, but I might understand.
No, I probably would. I have a feeling I can figure out what the squirrels want. Are gonna blow up, and it's like, go for it, like, definitely. But it's like, I'd like
Did
it
your
expand
character have a packet
bit.
of nuts, and you just didn't realize it?
No, and I'll tell you what, that because after the TNT incident, I was like, oh, this is gonna be this kind of game. Like, it's like subversion, right?
Yeah.
So it's once you find that and then it starts the next level. I was like, I'm gonna point a camera at my trailer because, like, I reckon, like, the developers are being clever here, and it's like, mention like the squirrels, are like, there's like loads of squirrels you don't know about, like, congregating around your trailer at night. It didn't happen, but I credit the game for making me think of that. Where I was like, hang on.
What you doing here, boy? What you doing here, Willis?
But no, ironically, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just like the gameplay gets repetitive as well, like, because, like, after the first level, like, you can't call them days because you do lots of days, because, like, every time you hit record, it's a new day. It goes to the next day. But that's kind of what it feels like. You got different areas of the forest, basically. And, like, after the first one, like, it does stuff where it's like it mixes stuff up, like I said, where it's like, no, you have to track these 2 squirrels backwards to the beginning rather than to the end. And, like, later on, it'll be like, oh, your cameras are fucked. Now you've got to actually chase the squirrels. And it's like, it does stuff like that, but it's also, like, the routes are really long. Like, especially when you're only seeing bits and pieces at a time.
Yeah.
So, like, it can feel really repetitive where it's like, okay, now I'm going to point the cameras this way, and then you go back, and then you're like, the scroll went left. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to point all my cameras this way. And then if you start getting impatient and you start trying to preempt where you think the squirrels might actually be going, like, oh, that looks like it might, and then you point a camera at it, it's like they didn't go that way. Shit, now I gotta go back.
Nope, not that way.
So like, even though it's only like 2.5 hours long, like it was like it's starting to get repetitive. On like night 6, night 7, night 8, night 9.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that sucks.
yeah, no, it's. I wanted to like it way more than I actually did. And if it had either mixed up its gameplay a bit more or developed its story like enough so it felt like it had a satisfying conclusion,
Yeah.
I would have. But because neither of those things happened, like it's difficult for me to feel anything other than disappointment. And I hate saying that. You know, I hate saying that about games where it's just like I didn't like it. Bollocks.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed for you.
Yeah. Squirrels are super
I'm
cute though. 'Cause
I'm
they're
so
squirrels.
disappointed that I don't even have any questions for it.
Squirrels are super cute though. The art style's incredible. Like, if you actually look it up, because I don't want to, I don't know how to explain. It's very colorful. In terms of like, it's generally just two colors, like two very bold, very stark, contrasted colors, which invert at night, which I thought was a nice touch. Whereas like in the day, it's like one set of colors, and at night, obviously, it's dark.
Oh yeah, I've got it up on my end.
Yeah, so it like inverts them, and then each area you go to is a different color palette. So like every biome, let's say, that you go to is different, and it feels different because it's a very different color scheme to the one that came before it. And I think there's like five. I think it is like 5 or 6 different levels you end up visiting over the course of the game.
Well, there's the game right there. If it goes that just tells what I'm looking at right now. Just tells you what they focused on most. And that was the visuals.
I mean, the visuals are great.
Visuals are
knock
looking
them.
good. I won't lie. I've got the pictures up on Steam here, my end, and it looks really nice. It's a sexy looking game.
Yeah, you know it
What
is.
what they focused on, which is even more disappointing.
It does, like, there's enough here to that works, even though it didn't all come together. That makes me think that this is like, I mean, I'd be interested to see what this developer does next. You know what I mean? Like, so while it's like Nuts itself wasn't a great game for me,
Yeah.
like the next game by the developers of Nuts, I'll be like, I'm interested. I want to see what you do. I want to see what you do, like expanding on this game.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a good first step, but you just need to tweak a couple of more things. And
yeah.
You could be there. Yeah.
And like, I'm not mad I played it, right? It's not like Remothered Broken Porcelain last year where I was like mad that I even bothered wasting my time playing that game.
She was like, "Damn it!"
You remember we did the podcast and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
The only thing broken about this game isn't the porcelain; it's the game." Where it's like Nuts, I was like, "I'm happy I played it. Like, I'm happy I've got my notes in my notebook that I'm going to read back over at the end of the year, and it's on my list. And it's like games finished Nuts, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember Nuts. It was a cute game that just wasn't quite there in the end.
It was missing a couple of nuts.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like the main reason I'm feeling disappointment about the game is because the story intrigued me enough to keep me going through the whole thing. And then it got to the end and I felt like it didn't stick the landing.
Sounds like it.
So it was like, the disappointment was felt because it was like, I was like, okay, where are we going now? Where are we going now? Where are we going now? Oh, that's where we're going now. And I wish I could just say it. There are Steam reviews on Steam with 2 words in them that tell you how it ends. It's just like, all right then. That's where we went with that. And normally I like really weird abstract things, but it's like when I was actually like invested in the story arc, and it just kind of went nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, that does suck.
It's fine. Stuff happens.
It does.
A couple of years from now, I'll be playing the next game, going, "Hey, this game is great."
Nuts 2 explains the dynamite.
Well, no, you see that they're independent developers, so unlike AAA publishers, they actually have more than one idea.
Oh, mic drop, ladies and gentlemen.
This is not the beginning of the Nuts cinematic universe. And that's it. Those were the games.
Those were the games. 1 good, 2 not so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All different and unique games there, ladies and gentlemen. Like you say, I think the thing I'll finish off with one thing for a while for the medium. The thing I think obviously helps this game is that it's in Game Pass. It's in Game Pass. If you got Game Pass, I would definitely say give it a go. You might feel differently to what I did, but yeah.
Yeah, ironically, Nuts was the most expensive game because of subscription services. Yeah, I feel the same way about both. It's like if you like the idea of Nuts and it looks good and it sounds like, you know what, it is worth a play. It is.
It's worth a square. It's worth a square.
I'm not disappointed that I played it. But yeah, we got next week. So they sent me a code for Curious Expedition 2 a week after it came out. So I got the code through on Thursday. So I'm gonna play that. And talk about that next week for sure. There was no way I could put enough time. Sorry?
Little Nightmares 2's next week as well.
Yeah. Like, there was no way I could have put enough time into Curious Expedition 2 to even approach talking about it this week. Yeah. So that'll be next week. Little Nightmares 2 is next week. I imagine... Because I might have postal issues, but I imagine you'll probably be checking it out either way.
I hopefully do.
Like, I will be if I get the disc.
I'm going to have to upgrade my service. Because I've still got Hitman 3 right now, and I haven't returned that yet. And does it come out on Tuesday?
Thursday? It's Thursday, and then Mario's Friday.
Alright, so I might, if I can return Hitman 3, I might need to upgrade my service just to go up to 2 games just to be on the safe side. I don't mind. I've got the money to do that, so that's alright.
That's fine. Again, I don't want to force you to do stuff, but yeah, it's like those 2 games. It's like Curious Expedition 2 definitely because I've got nothing else new to play until Thursday. And then it's like Little Nightmares and Super Mario. It's like if I get the discs or the cartridges, I will play them. And if I don't get them in time, I will talk about them the week after. But I know Mooney's interested in Little Nightmares, so...
I'm intrigued, yeah. It's very interesting. I've never played the first one. So that's even more intriguing. I'm doing what my friend did with Mass Effect. Because my friend, my best mate... played Mass Effect 3 before she started 1, 2.
Wow. How does that land?
He completely forgot. He had no idea what a Mass Effect was, and he just saw it.
No, not that. It's like, I wonder how that game hits without the 2 games before it, behind it. Because so much of that game is geared towards fan service in one way or another.
And they didn't have the comic book yet either, did they, by then? The comic book came...
The comic book was for 2... on the PS3 because the Mass Effect 1 was an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so much of that game is designed around fan service that I'm curious to know how that would work.
He enjoyed it because I told him this was the 1 and 2, right? He said, "Yeah, but it's not on it's not on PlayStation. Well, 2 is, but but I can't." But I said, well, I have 1, 2, and 3 on Xbox. Wait, really? I said, yeah. Do you want to lend them? Yeah. Wait, really? I said, yeah. There we go. I had them back within 3 days. That's how fast he completed them.
I mean, to be fair, like Mass Effect 2, I did fairly quickly. Actually, to be fair, 3 I did in like 2 days.
Nobody completed 3 long games in 3 days. He basically didn't sleep. Respect to him.
That.
Respect. Well, that's it, I think.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, like we're done. It's like we awaiting the games we're excited for. I think we're in like that holding pattern right now.
Right now, yeah.
But we're finding good stuff to play either way.
So. Right now, I think I might be wrong here, but the closest one for me is Resident Evil 8, which is May. It's got to be coming before then.
They're probably. Returnal's coming out in April.
Oh, Returnal.
For me, it's Persona 5 Strikers. Like this month. So like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game.
Easy 90 on Open Critic.
I hope so. I take nothing. I take nothing for granted. Remember Cyberpunk? Remember Cyberpunk? But yeah, it's like this game's coming out, so it's good. Just drop Hollow Knight. Just drop Hollow Knight, and then I'll declare 2021 the best year.
But what if you don't like Hollow Knight?
I mean, I think I'm gonna like Hollow Knight.
That doesn't mean no, and you know it doesn't, man. Come on, Amy.
You know I've played it, right? You know I've
I
played
know
some
you've
of
played
it.
it. I know you've played it.
Like, I'm not going in completely blind. I played a demo on Switch at EGX when we were allowed outside and in convention halls with thousands of other people.
Bye, everybody.
Are we doing it? Are we just going, bye?